everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Sideshow Live. We apologize for the delay and the technical difficulties, but we are back. You thought we might be sleeping through Spooktacular because, you know, it ended. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe just our tech was like, nope, you guys made it through Spook. We get a rest. Peace. But instead, we are back. And we have a lovely show for you people. We are caffeinated and we're ready to go one more time. So, we have this amazing piece from our friends over at PCS. They've let us borrow the prototype for the Gen 1 museum scale Starscream. So we're going to check this bad boy out. And we also have a really awesome friend of ours, Steve Blum, voice acting legend, will be joining us later in the show. He is in the house right now though. So he's listening, and he knows everything that's happening. So right now, buckle up, we're gonna have some fun. Take a look at the Gen 1 museum scale Starscream statue. Oh my gosh. Like, just the sheer size of this piece is just crazy awesome, right? Everyone has been freaking out about these awesome new PCS statues, and these are from Transformers, so they're particularly nostalgia. They bring up all the feels for all you Transformer fans from growing up with all these characters and, you know, robots in disguise, y'all. It's pretty awesome. So this is inspired by Starscream's appearance in Generation 1. The statue itself is about 26.5 inches tall, so it is over 2 feet tall. It has 3 interchangeable portraits that it comes with. You're looking at the stoic portrait right now, but it also comes with maniacal laugh and smirking. So that's a lot of different versions of Starscream that you have right there. He comes with 2 pairs of swap out arms, closed fist arms, and rocket aiming arms. So those are closed fist arms. And PCS have just like, look at the way they painted these statues. It's a statue, but it looks like a piece of animation that has come to life in 3-dimensional form. The paint job is just stunning, and it really makes like these characters look like they're taking flight and coming straight off the screen. It's just brilliant and beautiful right there. The exclusive edition does come with a swap out hand holding the Megatron gun. So that is an awesome that's like such an awesome little Easter egg, fun little throw in for, Challenger just lost his mind right there. He's like, what, Megatron gun? Yeah. So that's amazing. So this is the second Gen 1 Transformers PCS statue that exists. The first one being the classic Optimus Prime, which you can see if we look, yeah? Oh, wow. Ooh. Oh my God, that's really cool. Wow, PCS is really knocking it out of the park with these. That's really, oh my gosh. So Optimus is a bit of a smaller scale statue, being about 10.5 to 13 inches in height. So the classic series is intended for folks with a little less space to display their collection, and he is available for pre-order right now, this Optimus that you're looking at side.show/PCS Optimus. That's side.show/PCS Optimus. Yep, ooh. And then the Starscream that we have here on set that you guys will be back to in just a second. Yep, there we go. Is obviously part of a much larger museum scale statue collectible. So he goes up for pre-order today, probably right around now, since we're talking, because of the delay, it's between noon and 3 p.m. Right now it's 12 p.m. So it's probably up around now. So head on over to side.show/PCS Starscream. That's side.show/PCS Starscream, and you can pre-order this beautiful, beautiful piece, museum quality, museum scale statue right now. We have a quick video break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Steve Blum. Thank you guys for watching Sideshow Live. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, welcome back to a special edition of Sideshow Live. We figured that if we were gonna have one Starscream in the building, we might as well have two. So why not have two Starscreams? Yeah, there we go.
This Starscream is not for sale.
Oh, really?
Maybe that one
Steve
is.
Bloom, ladies and gentlemen.
Buy that one.
Oh my gosh, welcome
be right
to the
here.
show. Hi.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh my gosh, this is the first time you've been on the new set.
Yeah, it's pretty
How's that?
badass. This is amazing. This is amazing.
I know.
I'm gonna move in and live here.
Everyone says that. You're at least the third person this week who said they're going to move into the studio.
I got a pretty good collection of stuff, mostly stuff from you guys, but this is.
I was going to say, I
sick.
really feel like you could move in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could.
So for
Well
those of you,
represented.
who don't know Steve is basically a voice acting legend, legacy, everything. Let's be honest. Steve Bloom has voiced your childhood.
I have a face for radio.
Lies. So you voice a lot of badasses.
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
So who gets to say, like, come on, let's list them. Who gets to say they are Spike Spiegel, Wolverine, you're in Samurai Champloo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zeb Aurelius.
Right.
Oh my God, Zeb.
Stop it.
Whenever you say Chopper, it always gets me. So.
I hate Chopper. He's annoying, but I don't have to deal with him much now. I'm on honeymoon with his son, so he's not included.
But now you're also Starscream, and how much fun is it to play someone kind of diabolical?
Oh, Starscream was so great. It was so much fun. Working on that show on Transformers Prime was every 8-year-old fanboy's dream. Standing next to Peter Cullen and Frank Welker and seeing Optimus and Megatron reunite after so many years of not working together, and they knew each other so well, and everybody in that room, as soon as Peter would say roll out, you see everybody in the room turn into their inner child and squee out loud. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you did get to record in the room with all of them?
We recorded as a full cast.
How was that?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was such a great cast too. I mean, everybody in that cast is just a master at what they do, and we were constantly in awe of just watching each other perform. Sometimes to the point where it was hard to get up to the microphone and do our part.
Mm-hmm. You're like, oh right, me.
Yeah, we're like this. I mean, Frank and Peter would start telling stories, and they're both amazing impressionists, and they would go into some crazy thing, and you'd see all the suits from Hasbro behind the glass on the other side, just going like that, and we would stop recording, and nobody cared. Sometimes it would go overtime, and nobody cared, because it was one of those rare moments in entertainment history to watch two legendary guys do their thing just for fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's amazing. So, wow. Okay, I'm just like absorbing that for a second. So Starscream had such an iconic voice in the original series.
Yeah.
And the late Christopher Collins, of course, who also voiced Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
How do you go about how do you go about taking over a character like that who has such a legacy?
Those are difficult heels to fill. Yeah, it was crazy on a lot of different levels. Not only did people know Chris Latta's work from before, and everything we knew was going to be compared to that, but other people had played Starscream throughout the years too. And at that time, Charlie Adler was playing Starscream in the movies, who was a dear friend of mine. So I was terrified on every level possible.
So many levels.
Before I went in there and did it. But like every character that I auditioned for, I just kind of go from the gut. And they told me it was going to be a darker, different version of Starscream. And they wanted me to start very deep and very capable of inflicting damage. In the very first episode, he's ripping the spark out of Cliffjumper. Like, you know.
Wow.
And
pretty
so
mean.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of a different version of Starscream from the outset that really was capable of being much more ferocious, I think, and actually succeeding at something.
Yeah.
And so we started there and then built him out from that. And then we did go into the kind of high-pitched Chris Latta territory where, by the way, everybody in that room on the other side of the glass had a code for that when they wanted me to do what they called the Starscream Girly Scream. You see a bunch of guys from Hasbro in suits give me jazz hands.
Oh my God.
Which just meant do more
the
of
girly
that.
scream.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
more that I screamed and showed pain, the more excited they got, to the point where they kept writing more for him. Starscream actually appeared a little bit more in the show than the original intention.
Wow.
Because they just like torturing me.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. But the great thing was, though, that I was still, for many episodes of that, and for about a year after we started production on that, I was still scared that how the fans would accept the show or not accept the show, the old G1 fans.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until much later I was doing a thing with Rob Paulson at the Improv for his Talk and Tune show. And Chris Lauda's daughter was producing that show. I didn't know it at the time. She's a good friend of Rob's. And she came up to me just before I went on stage. And she said, my dad would be proud of what you did with Starscream. And I just started bawling, and I had to go right up on stage afterwards. But that kind of made it all okay for me. Because I always had that in the back of my head. Whatever happens with the show, I wanted to honor what had come before. So
absolutely.
it's so exciting to just be in the room with this. That's amazing.
So I know that a lot of people ask about voice acting and starting a career in voiceover, and you have actually started an awesome masterclass that is known as Bloomvox Studios. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, BloomvoxStudios.com kind of came out of doing panels for years at conventions, and they always sort of became teaching Q&As accidentally. And so the people on my team have been bugging me for years to start actually formally teaching, and I didn't know anything about doing that. So we played around with it a little bit. We finally put together a website, and it's now in its third incarnation because it's so hard to do this. I have no idea how hard it is to do this. And I wanted to keep prices really low, because one of my big pet peeves about people who are getting into voice acting is that they are taken advantage of by the predators out there. Entertainment is rough, as we all know. And so I wanted to do something with a super low price point that anybody could try. And they could do it for 1 month at a time, they could do it for 6 months, they could do it for a year, however long they wanted to do it. And so I started these classes that are online, live twice a month. We do it on Zoom format, so it sort of looks like the Brady Bunch. We all see each other, we can interact with each other, and I lecture for like a half an hour, and then we do a live Q&A. And so that was the genesis of all this stuff, and we're 18 classes in now.
Wow.
And once they sign up, even if they subscribe for 1 month, they get all of the archived classes too, and a newsletter that we spend a week on each time, putting that together with videos from all over the world. There'll probably be some stuff from this in one of those newsletters
that's awesome.
at some point.
Hi.
It's pretty cool. So that's happening, and then we also have an advanced class where it's really live coaching for people who are already doing something in acting, whether they've actually actively gotten into voiceover or they're just beginning, but they have to have some prerequisites for that. And so that one we do once a month. And then we also did a meditation, because in one of the classes, a lot of people were talking about the stress of performance. And I've been meditating since I was very young, and so I ran them through a quick little live meditation in the class, and they liked it so much that I decided to do a professionally recorded one. So my dear friend Ariel, who's an amazing recording artist, did the music for me, and we did, I think it's like a 24-minute meditation, so that's on the site.
Is it your voice?
It's my voice. Guided meditation. Yeah, it's a guided meditation.
I feel like that would just be like I can totally see your voice doing a meditation. That it would work really, really well.
Since I began meditating, I've been listening to other people who do guided meditations, and some of them are good at it, and some of them it's like, oh God, I'm falling asleep rather than meditating. And I just wanted to do something that resonated for me. I used all the little pieces that resonated for me throughout the years, and I put that together in a thing with an amazing soundtrack. So all of that's available on the website at bloomvoxstudios.com.
Wow. And then you also have a Facebook community that you've created that is dedicated to voice acting, correct?
We do, yes. We did that before we put the school together, and we did that just as a safe place for people who are interested in voiceover to go, where they can connect and talk about the things that they love, and talk about all the things, the misconceptions that they have about voiceover. We kind of correct a lot of that in there. But it's a safe, fun community where people can talk about the stuff that they love, and there's so much out there for people to do, but some of it's really mean-spirited, and we have zero tolerance for any of that stuff. Everybody's included. Everybody can participate. We do monthly challenges. We just did the Monster Mashup Challenge for Halloween, where people would create a monster character, and they had to do something that a monster would never say, and they had like 15 seconds to do it. And so we had like 150 people doing these amazing creations on video.
Something a monster would never say.
Yeah, so we had people doing like insurance commercials as a monster, or ordering fast food.
I was like, because I was just like, well, I don't know, because the first thing I thought of in my head was like, get me some cheese, and then was like, I bet a monster would eat cheese.
Depending on the monster, I suppose.
Everyone off camera is looking at me like, what's wrm with you? That's what
if it's a good camembert, I suppose. It depends on the cheese. Yes.
And what type of monster?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like some monsters would eat cheese.
Yes. So we give out prizes to the
that's amazing.
winner. We bring in 3 judges from the community. They watch all the videos and they give us their selects, and from that we choose a winner, and I send them a prize every month.
Oh wow.
So it's really fun.
So now before we move on to audience Q&A, we have awesome new news that's hot off the press. Some of you guys might have seen that there are 2 other statues that go with Starscream at the PCS booth at New York Comic Con. So they revealed that the next 2 statues in this line are going to be the fellow Seekers, Skywarp and Thundercracker, which is really awesome, right? Amazing. And that's not all. We can reveal exclusively that both Skywarp and Thundercracker come with additional pieces that enable you to transform this Starscream statue into the Coronation Starscream variant. So you can make King Starscream out of this if you get his other 2 Seekers. That's amazing. I'm watching Challenger's face explode right now. He's trying to like be quiet, but he's like, what? Oh my God, King Starscream, that's amazing.
I support this with all of my spark.
Oh my God, I love when Steve comes on. So we'll be updating our website with more information on that in the near future, so be sure to watch the space. And remember that this guy goes up for pre-order today at side.show/PCS Starscream. We have a short break, and when we come back, we're taking questions from the audience.
Yes.
You guys are watching Sideshow Live with Steve Bloom. We'll be right back.
Woo!
Welcome back to Sideshow Live. We are here with voice acting legend Steve Bloom.
You're
here. So in case you guys are unaware of who Steve is, he's basically voiced every character in your childhood, from Spike to Zeb. Actually, that's a pretty good, like, I mean, that's my childhood anyway. It's like Spike to Zeb.
It's all that really matters in this room.
I mean, you just need to keep going because I'm never going to grow up. Like,
I'm not either.
Yeah, exactly. No. We're all like, you know, we all have massive Peter Pan syndrome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the best kind, because we get things like this, the most amazing Starscream.
I'm an 8-year-old in an old man suit and proud of it.
Yes, that's how we should all describe ourselves from now on. I love
Absolutely.
it. So right now we have some questions from the audience that are coming in.
Bring it.
Casey Huff would like to know how often you are recognized by just your voice.
Not as often as you might think. It's happening more often nowadays because people have seen me on camera, and it was something I avoided for a very long time. But when it usually happens is in the grocery store, if I'm up at the register and I'm just talking to the cashier, and somebody next to me in line will all of a sudden, I'll just see like a facial tick. And they can't quite place where they know it from.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll be out in the parking lot putting the groceries away, and all of a sudden somebody will come screaming out, "I know who you are!" they go through the mental Rolodex and it takes a while. So it's kind of fun having that happen rather than being recognized all the time.
Yeah.
Because then I have a private life.
That's true.
It's kind of cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, someone whose username is bad at gaming. Is that me?
I
Did
could
I
have
do
that
that? Because
username
I could
too.
have that
Yeah.
username too.
Yeah.
I'm bad at gaming. What is the most demanding or difficult voice you've ever done?
That's tough. There's so many that hurt. Wolverine is one of the tougher ones.
Really?
Just because I don't have that same healing factor. And he starts here, which feels kind of good, but it never lasts long. He gets irritated very quickly. And so usually for most of those sessions, I'm going, I'm doing all that feral crap.
Uh-huh.
And I literally feel like everything is bleeding internally when I finish.
Is there something that you do to like take care of your voice? I mean, I'm sure, obviously, but
There are some things that you can do, and
But-
I have like Chinese herbal throat drops, and I've got sprays and teas, and I sleep and I drink a lot of water. There's all the regimen that helps that stuff.
yeah.
But
At the end of the day,
once you do the damage, you just got to heal,
Yeah.
and it just takes time. So when I'm performing Wolverine, I try to do it on Friday at the end of the day, so I have the whole weekend to recuperate.
Oh,
So,
that's smart.
Yeah. Calling the professor and trying to get that healing
That's
factor
true.
activated again. My subscription ran out.
Moose Palace. Sorry, it's different than Moose Place. This is a Moose Palace.
Either one sounds fun. I want to go there.
No, Steve, what inspired you to start a career in voice acting?
Oh, I did it by accident. I was working at a film studio called Empire Entertainment, which there's a connection there.
Yep.
Have we already revealed that? With the
Nope.
the thing?
Oh yeah.
The trivia thing?
The
Yeah,
trivia
okay.
question?
Okay,
Okay.
so I can spoil this.
Spoil the trivia question.
Yeah, I was working at this film studio called Empire Entertainment, and we made movies like Reanimator and Ghoulies and stuff like that. And I was working in the mailroom, and the head of the mailroom was casting a Japanimation program, and it was called The Guyver, and he needed somebody that could do a creature voice, and I happened to have the deepest voice in the mailroom, and I tried out for it. I had no acting experience, but they offered me free breakfast and lunch, and that's really the only thing that got me there on a weekend to try out for this thing.
I mean, yeah.
And I had a natural ability because of some musical training prior to that to match the lip flaps in anime. And I just did it for fun on the weekend for years until eventually I was an executive at that same film company. Became Full Moon Entertainment later on. And I realized that I just hated going to work every day because it had changed. It was becoming much more corporate. And I booked a 7-Eleven commercial. And that was it. I was the guy who said, "Oh, thank heaven." And that was it. I quit my job after 15 years at the film company and went into it full time, and then starved for like 3 years, but kept doing it because I loved it. It's the one thing that I did with all the other jobs that I had in all those years that made me happy. I just loved doing voice work. But the side note to that that actually ties back into Transformers is that the guy who was our biggest star at Empire at that time, his name is Jeffrey Combs. He played Dr. Herbert West in Reanimator and in a bunch of our other films too. He was the big star at Empire at that time, and I was a PA. I was the guy who was cleaning the condoms out of the parking lot. And and Jeff, I just remember I was there for the photo shoot for Reanimator for the big movie release. And we had the head on the desk and everything, and Jeffrey came in, and he was so kind to every single person on that crew. And cut to years and years and years later, we're working side by side. He was playing Ratchet in Transformers Prime. And I'm working side by side with him as an actor. I got to tell him this, and I got to say, you were one of the few big celebrities that I met way back then who was really nice, and I remembered that. And those are the people I like to surround myself with.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, big kudos to Jeffrey for being such an
Aw,
awesome
that's
human
sweet.
being. Yeah.
So this is a really crazy follow-up question. If you could pick 2 people that you have voice acted with to form a wrestling team, who would you pick?
Fred Tatasciore.
I was like, he didn't even think about that one. It
No,
wasn't
because
like
I
a-
just hide behind him.
Yeah.
And who else? Wow, wrestling. That would be tough. That I have personally voice acted
That
with?
you have personally voice acted with.
Oh, man. That's so hard. God, I'm thinking about the fighters now. Who do I know?
I was going to be like, Mary.
Oh, Mary. Yeah, she's a lover, not a fighter, though.
But I feel like she'd be great on your team.
Yeah, she would, because she plays dirty.
Yes. She's scrappy.
Yeah, she's very
But
scrappy.
she is. She's a sweetheart. She'd be a great person to have to be like, yeah, go, yeah.
Oh, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Freddie's a badass fighter.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
He'd be great. I'd hide behind him too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just pick 2 people you'd hide behind.
That'd be our team.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I would just hide behind and taunt in very deep voices. Maybe sweep a leg occasionally.
That's amazing. Steve, do you ever find yourself in a character's voice without intending to?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary and I greet each other in ridiculous voices. I mean, we don't see each other sometimes for days because we're both working so much, and I'll walk into the house and I'll just go, Papa! I'll just hear on the other side of the house, Papa! It starts there and it just goes.
That's amazing.
It's like that all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we just can't help it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I slip into Guillermo and just accidentally, I can't help it.
Yeah. It's a.
I just liked when there was a
brain tick.
Wolverine PF in the building one time, and you just walked up to it and started talking to it like Wolverine, and we were like, Andy and I were just sitting there going, "What is happening right now?
Yeah,
This is amazing.
I can't help it.
Don't scare him. He'll stop."
It's an involuntary reflex. I have
Yeah.
animals in the house too. I talk to them. Every single one of them has a different voice and a different personality. I think
I
that's
mean,
how
that's
we.
fair. I mean, my cat has a different voice than my voice, except he sounds like he just sounds like a kid.
So I want to hear your cat's voice.
Oh,
What
my
is your
cat's voice is just like, he just whines. So it's like, he's like, feed me, I want food. Like he just sounds like me, but a whiny brat kid.
I love that.
Oh, he's like, Mom, I want food. That's how he talks.
Well, see, now that's a completely different character, though.
No, he
you
is.
could-
He's a total.
You too could create a career in voiceover. Go to bloomvoxstudios.com
Yes,
and do that.
absolutely. Yeah, just make a little whiny cat voice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it begins.
Yeah. Just so you all know, Starscream is live on our website right now. He's available at side.shows/PCS Starscream.
I'm right here.
And he's right
You
here.
speak as though I'm not in the room.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Steve, what character that you've previously played would you like the opportunity to play again?
Starscream, Wolverine, Jamie from Megas XLR. Very few people talk about that. If you don't know Megas XLR, we did this show that was dedicated to the fandom of everything that's giant robots and anime and everything awesome in the nerddom universe. We had all these little references all sprinkled throughout the show. And they didn't know what to do with the show. It was a Cartoon Network show at the time, and it ended up as a sacrificial lamb I think they needed a tax write-off or something. So the show ended way before its time. So if you get a chance and you can find it out there, check out Megas XLR. So Jamie from that show. And Green Goblin.
From Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that
Oh my
show
God.
continue too.
That was a great show. I liked that version of Spider-Man a lot.
It was
I'm
awesome.
very picky about my versions of
As
Spider-Man.
you should be, yes.
Because there's a
Yeah.
lot out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great show while it was around.
It was, and it was a super fun character to play too.
Which Transformers character do you relate to the most?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. Not just because I've embodied that for so long, Starscream, because Starscream is really a good choice for me because it's a devious, ridiculous, aholic side of me that I don't put out there in the world. Can I say that here?
Yeah.
Okay. That I don't put out in the world that all of us have internally.
Oh, for sure.
There is that selfish side that we all have, but I could do that. I could let that out in the form of Starscream and in a safe environment, and it was done with love and sort of a grain of salt, and so it was sort of therapeutic for me to play that character. So
Okay.
I was the right guy for that role, I think.
Well, obviously, I mean his legacy also.
Yeah.
When the daughter of the man who, yeah.
Whether she meant it or not, I melted. Yeah, it was amazing.
I'm sure she didn't mean it.
Amazing.
Do you prefer voice acting with other actors in the room, or do you prefer recording your lines on your own?
I love to work with other actors. It's so much fun. We're, as you know, you've met so many of us that we are a big, happy, dysfunctional family.
It's
we
amazing.
love each other. We go on holiday together. D. Bradley Baker and I have spent time up at Skywalker Ranch together and hung out. We we choose to do stuff together as a family. We're playing D&D
I was
together.
gonna say you have like your own D&D thing, and then
D&D thing, yeah.
And then the cast of Rebels got together to play a Star Wars RPG.
Yes, we did.
So
yeah.
that was amazing too.
Yeah, and we choose to do that stuff because we're friends. We didn't know if that would go anywhere.
Right.
We just got together because we really love hanging out together. And we feed off of each other's energy and we laugh our asses off.
Oh yeah, you guys are hilarious.
Yeah, so yeah, any chance we have to work together is always a good day.
That's awesome. That's like our little sideshow family too.
I can feel that here.
Yeah,
This-
we all like being around each other.
I was saying earlier, I just want to come live here.
Yeah,
this
no,
place is amazing.
you're part of
Yeah.
the family now. You
I
can come live
know,
here too.
whether you guys like it or not.
Oh.
I've moved in.
What were some of your favorite TV shows and movies while you were growing up?
Oh man, I'm a really old guy, so I watched things like Gilligan's Island when I was a kid, and Love Boat, and
That doesn't make you really old. I watched those too.
Marx Brothers, Three Stooges. How about that? That goes a little bit older.
I know those as well. I watched those
Okay.
too, though those my dad showed me, but Gilligan's Island I totally watched.
Yeah, Monty Python.
Monty Python.
Yeah, Flying Circus. I loved the comedy shows more than anything else. I wasn't a huge fan of drama stuff, and I love sci-fi too. Star Trek was my jam.
Star
The
Trek's
original
still my jam.
Star Trek.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I loved all that. Star Wars movies.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
The Star
I was
Wars.
a little
movies.
older. I was
How
in
does
high
that
school.
feel? Like now that you're like canon in the Star Wars universe.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
'Cause I was 17 years old when the first Star Wars movie came out, and I was this apathetic youth who hated everything, hated everyone, didn't even go to my own graduation for high school. But Star Wars came out that summer, or May of just as school was ending.
Okay.
And I remember walking to that theater not knowing what to expect, and just the first time the cruiser comes across the screen and the whole room rumbles, I went, oh my God, I care about something again.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I've carried that sensory feel with me all these years. And when we got to work, I worked on a lot of Star Wars projects before Rebels happened. But when Rebels happened and I read that first script, it brought back all that sensation of just kind of waking up inside again. And it was written so well and so with such reverence to the fan base that we were continuing that story. And
That's so
that
great.
it was so amazing to be part of that. It was like getting a second shot at childhood.
I was just like, you saying like, oh, I feel something again. That's kind of what that, like Clone Wars and Rebels does for a new generation.
It does, yeah. And now Resistance, too.
Yeah, and now Resistance.
is going to be a gateway for a whole different generation.
I know, and that's the generation. Oh man.
That may or may not like the old movies.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah.
Because that generation, like their Jedi isn't Luke, their Jedi's Rey. So the Resistance is a whole different base that they're coming from.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And I love to think about that. I love to think about that there are generations, plural, of Star Wars fans who each can take away from it what they will.
You see them dressing up at cons.
Yeah.
From babies to 90-year-olds. It's amazing. Sometimes all in the same family.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yes, it's amazing. Do you guys voice your D&D characters?
Yes, we do.
I had to ask that one.
Yes,
That
we
was
do. The one that we did with the Star Wars group, I did a droid. And I did him sort of as a Javi Fierstein kind of thing. It was ridiculous. We have those on YouTube. You should check that out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that one was
Wait,
really
what
fun.
kind of droid?
He was a medical droid.
Okay.
But he had,
All right.
but he was kind of put together from some spare parts and stuff. So he had syringes and knives and scalpels and things hanging off of his hands. And he had this bowl in the middle of him that I'm not sure what the original intention was, but we had this giant fight with a giant squid and fish and stuff, and he ended up with a fish in his chest, who he named. And there's a whole story that goes
Oh my
with this.
God.
You gotta-
Go watch this on
yeah,
YouTube.
go check this out on
This
YouTube.
is
It's
crazy.
ridiculous. So all of us did voices, and we destroyed the Star Wars universe. So I'm sorry, Lucas. But they
is
loved it. And then in
amazing.
our home game, I'm playing a character called. Before I tell you what the character's name is, it's based on a character from Dragon Age, from the video game.
Oh my God.
I played a character on that called Ogren, and he used to call people ass chabs. And so I named my D&D character Azure Chabs. And he kind of talks like him, and he's drunk all the time. And he has a girlfriend named Gladys who happens to be a wild boar.
Of course he does.
and-
Why wouldn't he?
and it is a physical relationship, in case you're wondering. So yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, we definitely give voice to our characters.
That's so good.
It's stupid.
So was there a challenging voice that you almost could not do?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Usually the higher pitched ones I'm a little hesitant to try out for, just because I don't know if I can sustain it if I've had a rough day. There was a character in Digimon called Poramon. He was like this little pink floating puff.
And Poramon spoke like this, so there was one day that I was coming from a Wolverine session and I had to go to Poramon immediately afterwards.
And I had come in from screaming my guts out
Oh
just
my
before I
God.
went there, and I tried to do this, and that came out. So Mary was directing that show at the time.
She was like, wow.
And she actually said, "You know what? You're excused for the day. I can't use you." So that was a little tough. Yeah, sometimes with those high-pitched characters, it's a little dicey for me. The lower-pitched ones are usually okay, because even if I've got some damage, it just goes deeper, and it's okay. I can usually recover from that.
That's amazing. Wow. You guys, thank you so much, Steve. For
It's
coming
over?
in. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're just getting started.
We
I want to
just
hear
are-
about your life now. What's happening in your life?
Oh my God. No,
I know,
we're
okay.
good. We're good. The audience has seen so much of me over the past week. We can catch up over lunch. How about that?
Oh, okay. But you guys never get tired of her, right?
Oh,
I don't.
geez.
I love you. I have
Oh
so
my
much
God.
fun every
I
time
love
we get together.
Yes, we
It's-
have so much fun every time we get together.
Oh, we
It's
do.
amazing.
We
It's
do.
awesome.
I know.
And then I felt like a jerk when I saw you in New York because I kept cutting your line. So if
That-
you were in Steve's line in New York, I apologize.
That was one of the happiest things
I know,
to see
but we
you guys.
we were like and then I was like, I'm sorry, everybody. You guys want to talk to? I'm sorry.
She's
Okay.
family. They understand. They understand.
Okay. You guys, so check out bloomboxstudios.com for everything
Yes.
Steve related.
Yes, please.
And then head on over to his Facebook group and join that awesome community
Yes,
over
which
there.
is just the Bloombox Studios Facebook community.
Bloombox Studios Facebook community.
Yeah.
It's so positive and so wonderful, you guys. So please, please, please join up over there, and then you can ask Steve all the other questions that maybe you didn't get to ask on the show. So right now, head on over to side.show/PCS Starscream, and you can pre-order Starscream right now. Thank you so much, Steve, for
Thank
being
you
on
for
the
having
show.
me.
You're amazing.
Buy the Starscream. It's beautiful.
I'm just going to listen to him talk like this for the next few hours.
It's
We're
just-
going to have lunch. It's going to be amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Happy November. I'm used to saying Happy Spectacular, but Spectacular's done. Happy November, everyone. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next time. And don't forget to let your geek side show. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Hey,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Welcome back to How to Be a Poser. Today we're going to extract a performance from a figure that's both menacing and regal. To do that, we're going to be using the T'Chaka 6-scale figure from Hot Toys. Let's get started. All right, here he is, King T'Chaka, looking good, still in his box, exactly the way he's going to come to you. Can't wait to see what I can do with this guy, so let's get rolling. Okay, here he is. Now, with this figure, I think that we're going to just focus on several variations on a theme, and I want him to, in pretty much all of them, have his claws out. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, actually, as always, is establish which hands I'm going to use. Now, let's see, just experimenting with the pegs, but they come out okay. Now, this figure comes with two sets of grasping or clutching hands, and one has the claws extended, the other does not. For this first pose, I think I'm going to just use the extended claws, because that's just more fun. And get that peg in there. Again, these are pretty stiff. There we go, got it back in there. Now, when I put it back in, I noticed that the wrist peg was still exposed. So if that happens to you, just make sure that you pull the sleeve back down over the wrist peg so it's concealed from view. That can be unsightly. Nobody likes unsightly things. Otherwise, they wouldn't be called unsightly. Something I just noticed is use caution when putting these hands, these clawed hands, onto the wrist pegs, because those clawed hands are really sharp. Yeah, I've got to exert some pressure to get those things on there. And I know you're going to have to as well, so I'll caution you again. Just be careful Just kind of slowly push them onto there. Don't try to just make them pop on all at once. Just kind of slowly let the peg flow into the wrist. All right. So this opening pose, as usual, is just going to be a basic introductory pose. But I want him to have at least some degree of menace. We'll get to a more stately, sort of kingly, heroic pose later on down the line. But let's get these feet slightly more than shoulder width apart. Give them just a bit of a bend at the knees. And then compensate at the ankles. There we go. Bring the waist forward. Now, once you have that in a comfortable spot, and I like that, then bend him forward at the waist and then twist him this way. Face that towards you. See where I'm going with that? And the further you go down, the more it looks like he's about to pounce. Now, when you're bringing this arm back, have the claws facing forward in such a way that it looks like he's about to swipe with them. Actually, you know, I'm just gonna go all in, like he's just gonna spring with both arms right before he's about to do a dive and come at you with both sets of claws. So let's get that bent down, head up. This is really, really astonishingly stable for what it's doing here. I'm really delighted by it. There we go. Get him down nice and low. Get him on the stand. Oh, once you get that done, then just kind of make sure you have a good balance with the arms. See how see how this one just seems to be just a little bit closer to the body than the other? Maybe bring this one out just a little bit. Back with the arm a little bit. And again, make sure you keep that body lowered. Got to be leaning forward, leaning into this pounce. And again, just kind of notice the lines that the torso and the legs are creating. You can see that there's a line here, and then when you get up to the torso, that line rotates slightly to the left, and then you keep coming up to the head, and that's an even higher degree to the left, so that it's facing directly to you. As you go down, the body becomes increasingly angled away from you. That's what makes it look good, even in its just basic posture like that. At the very last second, right when I thought that I was done, I just noticed that I forgot to include this high-tech bracelet that all Wakandans use, even back in those early days. So I'm gonna lay this guy flat because I've popped the wrist peg off all the way. You're going to slide this guy on first. And you never see T'Chaka without this bracelet. So just go ahead and leave it on. He says as he kicks it off. Just get it on there, get the hand back on. Again, being careful not to pierce your flesh with those razor sharp talons of his. Yeah, there we go. Back on. Make sure everything's exactly the way it used to be. I think that's a little too far out now. Get that head straight. Get him down. Menacing. And there you go. This figure is a memory, a ghost, a vision of a mighty ruler's past, at a time when he unwittingly created a demon to plague his children. There's a lesson in this figure for parents and for people in power. Or it could just look really cool in your display. Your call.